Welcome to the Bigger Room podcast. We have our very first guest on the Bigger Room. She's a stay-at-home mom who started her online business and went on to make over 6 figures in just 6 months. Welcome, Brandi Haas. We're so excited for you to be here.
Hey, ladies. Thank you for having me.
So, Brandi, what made you start an online business?
So I've been a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, solely living off one income, my husband's. Both my kids were going to be in school. And not only did I want to contribute and start bringing in my own income again, but I also just wanted to have something other than just being a full-time mom and full-time wife.
So, 7 years, those 7 years that you were a stay-at-home mom was because you became a mom. What did you do before?
I worked in the oil industry. I done payroll, office work, computer work, all of that.
And you didn't want to go back to doing that?
No. It would have been long hours away from my kids, which would have included daycare, before and after school care, which is around $6,000 a month where I live, and my income that I made at my previous job would have barely covered that.
Wow. I think
that's expensive.
that is really expensive. And I was going to say that I think that's what a lot of moms, a lot of wives go through, where, you have a kid and now you have to stay at home because of childcare being so expensive. How has it been trying to manage being a mom, being an online business owner, and being a wife?
It has its ups and downs. It was definitely a challenge in the beginning, just trying to get into a routine of everything and juggle everything. But after a couple weeks in and you kind of get into a routine, get your kids on a routine and your work and your own house life, wife life, it kind of all just falls into place.
Yeah. Did you try anything before?
No, I've never tried anything online before. I had no idea what affiliate marketing even was. My husband knew a little bit about it, and he's actually the one who pushed me towards it.
So you didn't really know anything about that. And did you want to do something online?
Yes, I wanted to do something online just because I could make my own hours, be available to my kids, not have to worry about daycare, not have to worry about school drop-offs, pickups, and kind of just making my own hours and still juggling personal life, kid life, all of that.
That's why right now we live in such an awesome time, because an online business is an option. And I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet if you looked, there's way more women in this space, trying to earn an income online than men. And I always thought it was an ego thing, but I do think also it's because we do want to stay home with our kids. We do not want to be gone all day. And then even into some parts of the night and come home, try and make dinner. Like, you're scrambling to get everything done in a very short amount of time before you have to get them ready for bed. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And for where I previously worked, if I went back to that, it's 9 to 5. So I would only see my kids on the weekend, and I would be gone to work before they even got up for school, and they would be gone to bed before I got back home. So I would not see them all week.
Yeah, and the income potential, right? With a 9 to 5, you show up to work and you get paid a certain amount for that time. Whereas in your online business, you made 6 figures in 6 months. How did that feel?
That was amazing. Just to have my own money again, I say my own money, but like my own income, my own, not having to worry about what the kids wanted to do on the weekend, not having to pinch pennies or dimes because, well, this needs to go towards a bill. We just wing every weekend. If they want to go to the arcade, we do that. If they want to go to the inside playgrounds, we do that. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I think not having to pinch pennies is one of the biggest bonuses of making this kind of money.
also for a lot of wives, that independence of being able to go take your kids out and not have to, consistently ask your partner, like, hey, can I have $20 to go do this for myself? I think a lot of wives want that independence.
Yeah, it's nice. And it's nice to just do whatever you want to do. The other day, I picked my kid up from school and we went for pedicures, and it was $200, and I didn't even blink at it. Didn't even think about it.
Oh, wow,
Damn.
Brandi, splurging.
Pedicures. What kind of pedicures are they doing in Canada? I remember when you say not have to rely on, ask for money in your example, Mel. And when I was younger, just out of high school, one of my girlfriends, one of my close friends, she got pregnant at 19. And I remember her calling me and crying. And then she ended up marrying the guy. And they had another kid, and she called me and cried when she was pregnant with that one too. I'm like, why do you keep doing this? But anyway, I remember being on the phone with her, and she's like, hang on, Jill. She said, so-and-so's in the shower. I gotta sneak in the bathroom so I can go in his wallet and get some money so the kids and I can go do XYZ. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why don't he just give me money? She's like, he won't give me money for anything. He gives me money for groceries. That's all I get. And she said, so I'm going to set you down and I'm going to sneak in there. I'm like, what if he looks out of the shower? Like, I was getting scared
Yeah.
for her. This sounded way too scary for me. But that was her reality. And all I thought to myself was, there is no freaking way I'm ever living like that, where I have to sneak to get any kind of money just to take our kids, to do something.
That actually brings up that conversation that money is a trigger for a lot of people based on how they grew up. Like, my parents are very weird with money. They definitely have a scarcity mindset, and that had an impact on me. And so when people think like 6 figures in 6 months, like, oh, I don't want to make that much, like, that's too much money. So like the idea of money, just people handle that differently. And we're talking about the benefits of having money, the independence, the ability to go take your kid out to go get a $200 pedicure or whatever. Those are just little things, memories that you can build, whereas people get caught up on the numbers, and that's where their mindset around money comes out.
For sure.
Brandi, how did you grow up around money? Like, was there a lot of scarcity mindset around money?
Did you guys have money?
Scarcity first.
Like, did you guys struggle financially, like, growing up? Because usually, like, families that struggle financially growing up, like I did, they have like this, like, I don't know, like, negative feeling toward money.
For sure.
I can say we weren't rich. We definitely struggled at points because my dad was a fisherman, which, as everyone knows, fishermen, farmers, they all live depending on that year, depending on the price of the quotas and all of that. So some years were good, some years were bad. But my parents, even though they struggled, and I feel like I'm probably the same with my kids, they would do without so that me and my brother could have. And I'm pretty much the same. If I have to give up a $100 pair of boots for my kids to have 25 new toys, I will do it. And I believe that definitely rubbed off from my parents, because they would do without something for themselves to go buy me or my brother something that we wanted.
I love that.
Yeah. We, my dad, we were a family of 6. So we have 4 kids in my family, and my mom didn't work, and my dad is an auto body mechanic. And back then it was way different. Like, you could be doing something like that and pay for a family of 6. We definitely weren't rich, but we definitely never went without. But I do often remember arguments almost every single week. They were arguing about money. Always. It was always money. They were arguing about something. But I was 4 years old. My sister and I shared a room. My sister is 4 years older than me, so she would have been like 8. She's sitting. She comes in the room. I'm jumping on the bed, just carefree as could be, having a great old time by myself, jumping on the bed. And then she came in, sat down. She's crying. And I stopped and I'm like, why are you crying? She's like, Mom and Dad are fighting. I'm like, so they always fight. I just kept jumping. Like, no big deal to me. And she said, well, if they fight, they're going to get a divorce. And they said, well, then they won't fight anymore. So simple to me. Then she said, I'm telling them you want him to get a divorce. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But yeah, it just made sense to me. They are divorced now. But it took until I was 21 years old before they finally did get divorced. But yeah, it was often fights about money.
Same. It was always, if it was an argument, it was about money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I definitely had, I was very lucky. I became a nanny when I was 19. And the family I nannied for, they were great. Like they always wanted to be, they were very involved in their kids' life. It wasn't like they just hired a nanny and I was there to take care of their kids forever and, all the time or anything. But they taught me how to look at money a little bit differently. I still ended up living paycheck to paycheck. So they couldn't undo all the damage that had been done, but I for sure knew there was another way to see it. I just had to learn, I had to learn it. And I didn't learn it until I don't think I'd learned it still.
I still haven't learned it.
To be honest. You can't undo it. It's like 19 years of damage.
Have either of you left your kids at home or in somebody else's hand because of war?
No.
Nope.
Not me.
Would you want to?
No.
Fuck no.
And that was an agreement before we had kids.
Yeah.
I raised them. Like nobody else is raising them for me.
I definitely have like a lot of childhood traumas because my parents worked like my entire childhood. So we were always left with like the aunts and uncles. But my mom did not stay home as a stay-at-home mom until I was 12 years old because she was pregnant with my little brother. And until maybe like a year ago, I always thought that she was like the one that did some of the crazy abuse. And then until I had like a revelation that it was actually her sister. But because they look so alike. But like I was just thinking about that and you guys being able to stay at home with your kids. Like that's everything.
Yeah, because I started working I went back to work a full-time job in 2019, like halfway in. And then in 2020, I hadn't even worked there a full year and we got sent home because of COVID. And during that time when I was working, my mom helped me and then I had a friend that would get him. But most of the time he was at his preschool until I got off of work. And that worked out really well because I did not want to hire anybody. I didn't want to hire a stranger. That scared the crap out of me. And then during COVID, they would tell us we're going to go back to work. And I already had been working from home for like a year. I'm like, you can't do that to me. I already have this schedule set. I am not going back to work. And then we'd go in for a little bit and then it would be another scare and then we'd go home. And so finally they let us stay home for a long time. And all I kept thinking was, I need to figure out how to make enough money with my online business so I don't ever have that threat of having to go back to work and hiring anybody. And I absolutely did. Like now I know people that still work there and they have to go back to work twice a week now. And I am so grateful that I am not there. It would have been,
yeah.
It's too hard.
It's a single mom.
Yeah.
Being able to stay home, single mom, that is a big accomplishment.
Heck yeah. Yeah. So Brandi, you talked about how you would give up a $100 pair of boots to buy your kids 25 toys. Didn't you recently buy them? Was it an Xbox?
Yes.
Tell us.
No.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so this was one of the things that no thought went behind, and one of those impulse buys that I told you about, where we just go and buy stuff because we can now. And me and my husband sat down one day and we're like, oh, they like playing games on their iPads. Let's go buy an Xbox. So we went to the store, we bought the Xbox, we bought the controllers and the headsets and all that. Little did we know we didn't even need the headsets because they only hook into like computers and all of that stuff. We didn't know they didn't hook into the game or the TV. And we are not gamers at all. I spent 4 hours sitting on the floor that night And mind you, we bought it 2 hours before bedtime. We went and bought an Xbox 2 hours before bedtime. And I sat down on the floor for 4 hours. Meanwhile, promised the kids they could play it before bed. So we were already
Oh,
2 hours past bedtime by the time we actually got the Xbox turned on.
Memories.
It was horrible. Yeah. So now me and my son spend hours killing zombies.
That's a good bonding moment.
Oh, it's amazing. But we cannot get past the first level. So it's awesome.
What's funny is that I also went and bought a gaming system when I started having money last year, but I bought Nintendo, and I didn't know my son and I could argue so much. He would get so mad at me during Mario. It's like, you just knocked me off the side. You did it on purpose. I'm like, why would I do that on purpose? You were right there. I was trying to get out of the way. Oh my God. The arguments are like, we're going to shut this off. We're not playing this if you're going to argue with me about every time we play. It was terrible. And he was blaming me for everything. I'm like, holy cow, kid. It's like this whole new personality came out. But
Yeah,
it hasn't even been a full year that we've had it. And he almost never turns that thing on. Like, ever. It
Yeah,
just
my daughter
sits
don't
there.
care for it at all. She don't care
She don't
that
care.
it's even down there. My son makes me promise every morning before he goes to school, Mom, when I get out of school, remember to ask me if we want to go kill zombies. So we play it out every day. Well, he only goes for half a day, so when he gets out, we play zombies.
Oh,
That's great.
so Brandi, you recently started sort of shifting online from your personal brand to now you have a faceless brand as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I opened an account 2 months ago now, and in the first couple weeks, I reached 2.5 million. I have gained over 8,500 followers, many reels over millions of reach, without showing my face whatsoever. Nobody knows who's behind it. Yeah, just basically to prove that if you do want to work online and for some reason you can't show your face. For an example, on my coaching call on Saturday, I actually had a girl. She's a victim of abuse, and she's going through a lawsuit, but she wants to do this really badly, but she can't show her face. And it was a great time to just show her an example of my faceless account. Like, you can do this without showing your face. And even for religious purposes, I've had so many people on my coaching calls wanting to do it, but for so many reasons, religion or their current 9 to 5 or abuse or court orders or whatever. So I show them that they can do it. They don't have to show their face. I've done it. And it's 100% possible.
Yeah. And people
Well,
that are just scared. Like, they just cannot get over the fear of showing their face. So for our listeners, a personal brand is it is you. You are the personal brand. And so we have personal brands. That's how we have made our money. But a faceless would be just content that doesn't contain you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't know what I was going to say.
Okay, yes. And for my faceless, I actually don't even create my own content. So it's much faster. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it. And if you are busy and you do work a 9 to 5, it's very simple. It takes 5 minutes. You basically pull some content that you like that's already made and you put your own filter on it. So for my theme page, I do black and white. And basically, I look for reels that suit me or mindset or whatever the case may be. And I just put a black and white filter on it and I upload it as my own.
And you don't put your name on there or anything, like your faceless channel's name. You just change the filter and that's it.
No, I don't add anything to the video. I don't take anything out of the video. If someone else has their name on it, I leave it on there. If there's no name on it, I leave it as it is. Just put the filter on there.
For
Interesting.
those of you, yeah, for those of you listening, you might be wondering, like, is that legal? Because I used to get questions like that, like, oh, people really do that? And the truth is that people are doing this all over social media. They're taking viral videos and then downloading them and then uploading them, adding a logo, a filter. It's not a new tactic, so it's not illegal. And you could totally do it, but you have a
So I
strategy, right, Brandy? Like, you're not just taking random viral videos and uploading just random stuff. You have a message, you have a brand that aligns with the offers that you have on your account, right?
and are you paying for
Yes.
ads?
No money in ads. Yes, I do have a strategy that has helped me gain all this reach. I'm currently at 3.9 million
Wow.
as of this morning. I know it's pretty awesome. And I'm over 8,500 followers now. So I basically look for certain content, certain techniques that I use, and it works.
And for those of you that don't know what branding means by reach, it's literally the amount of accounts. So 3.5 million accounts. That's a lot of accounts. And you did that organically, meaning you spent no money on ads, right?
Yes.
We should tell our listeners that we have had a few laughs throughout this episode because this is actually the fourth time that we've tried to record this episode. For
Yeah.
many different reasons, we have tried to record this episode and have failed. Even today, we were started recording this episode, and I looked over at the screen, and my screen for some reason wasn't even recording. So then we had to start over again. So technically, it's our fifth time. I mean,
Yeah, we
not
just
even
like each
counting the
other
one
a
time we
lot.
just started drinking instead. But so, Brandi, how is it is it easier to monetize on a faceless channel, or is it a little bit harder because people are not really seeing you?
Yeah, so this is something else I tell on the coaching calls. It's definitely, I'm not going to say harder, but it's a longer process to get people to like, know, and trust you when there's nobody to like, know, and trust besides quotes or random reels. So I have started not showing my face in my stories, but showing there's someone there, but with my face covered. So I'm slowly leaking a little bit of myself in there just to make it more realistic for my followers because I am getting upwards to 10K. And I do want them to know that it's not just a robot or a fake account. So definitely a little bit more challenging, but not impossible.
Yeah. I have a theme page, which is slightly different than a faceless channel. So everyone says. And I have over 12,000 followers, and it is hard to get people to go to an offer. And mine is pretty specific, like it is a wealth and business niche, but even with me showing up in stories, the story views on those accounts are so much lower.
So, Brandy, can you tell us what's next for you with your online business?
What's next for me? Reaching a million? Reaching
Dollars or followers?
$1 million, Jill.
Yeah.
Dollars.
Millionaire status. We're all millionaires in 2024. All of us.
You did right. We are. And that is my goal. That is my dream.
So what happens for you once you reach that goal? What does that mean for you?
For me, that means I can spoil my mama because she deserves it. And honestly, nothing dramatic. Just it's a milestone I want to hit. And I don't think my lifestyle would change a whole lot because I'm not really doing it so much to become rich and buy cars and big houses and all of that. I just want to take my kids to Disneyland. I want to go on a beach. I just want to live a fun life.
Will your husband keep working, or will you retire your husband?
Oh, he's going to work every day. He's going. I'm not retiring. We would kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've asked my wife that. I've asked her, because she's in the military, and like we're moving again at the end of the year. And personally, I just want to not do that anymore. Like I just want to stay put, which is another reason I like to hustle, is like I want to have that opportunity, present her with the opportunity, like, hey, like you can get out, like you can retire, like we're good. And I know what the military can do and set her up for. So I know I have to make a ton of money for her to feel secure. But she straight up told me, like, no, I'm doing my 20 years. I love what I do. So again, if she had all the money in the world, she still would stay in the military.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That is one of the realities that I came faced with last year. I was making all this money, but my kid has to go to school still. Like I can't just pick up and go anywhere I want. Like I dream that I want to do. It's like, oh yeah, he's got to go to school, and he likes having friends, and now he's doing hockey, and we're gonna have hockey practice twice a week and games every weekend. It's like, oh my god, where's my time freedom?
Would you
That's what I'm doing it for. I want some time freedom. I want to travel.
You just want to travel, or would
okay.
you move somewhere?
No, we're moving. We're moving.
Yeah.
And
See,
yeah, we want a bigger house. I've always wanted a bigger house. We want an in-ground pool. All right. So Brandi, what advice do you have for anybody that's kind of on the fence thinking about starting an online business? What would you tell them to do?
Jump in. Don't think about it. I thought about it. My husband pushed me towards it, and I waited 3 months until I was comfortable with doing it. And I feel like I should have just jumped at it. Start with a program, a mentor, whatever you got to do. I was completely blind to it, so I did jump in with a mentor and a whole program and a whole team. But only because I knew nothing about working online. I knew nothing about digital marketing, affiliate marketing. And I don't believe I would have accomplished 6 figures in 6 months without going with the program that I did.
Yeah, it's a done for you program. So 90% of it is already set up, and you can just start running with that small portion that you need to do. That makes a big difference. And I would say, like, being motivated by the people inside the group is a huge help for the online journey. And I think that's how we all made it to 6 figures last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandi, so for those that are interested in learning more about your faceless marketing, where can they find you?
My faceless marketing is strictly on Instagram. It's Faceless Journey Online. And yeah, that's where I'm too.
Faceless Journey Online. You can find her on Instagram. Go check out her page. Say hi. Tell her you heard her on the Bigger Room podcast. So there's a book that I learned about last night when we were talking about people thinking you're stealing other people's content, and is that cool? Is that okay? And there's a book out there that I want to get. I haven't read it yet, but it's called Steal Like an Artist. And it talks all about everything you put out there. It's available, and how to use it basically. But I heard it's really, really good, and I do plan on getting it. So maybe we'll have an episode around that.
Steal Like an Artist. That's interesting. That's an interesting name. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Brandi, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you and learning about your journey and then your faceless channel. It was super interesting. And we will see you guys in the next episode.